My name is Zach McFarland. I'm a professor at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California. I'm a beef production specialist there, so kind of come at this from a different lens. And for me, it's thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to be here and talk to this room. Everybody in this room is the inspiration for a lot of our students at Cal Poly. So they want to be you someday. And so it's a pretty cool opportunity to be able to share and showcase what everybody does in this room on a day-to-day basis. And you would be surprised. I hear all the time, and people ask me all the time, are you worried about the future of agriculture? Are you worried about this next generation? And truthfully, I can promise you that we're going to be fine. It's a pretty stellar group of agriculturalists, future ranchers, that I think all of you would be proud of.
The man with the PhD said we're going to be fine.
Piled higher and deeper.
Jonathan Jones, tell us about yourself.
I'm Jonathan Jones. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I run a little operation with my wife and two sons, and we have a vast scope of area that we ranch on in Louisiana.
Yeah, and we'll come back in a little bit. So the title here is Helping Others Live Better. Bob has mentioned it several times today. We've all talked about it. I think that's what we're doing. We're talking better together and helping others live better. And I'd love to share a couple of stories in a moment, and there are a couple more videos, and again, hearing from Jonathan and hearing from Zach and such. But wanted to bring BJ up because we've gone out and captured some of this stuff. We've had great conversations, but we leaned into a little research to get some numbers back and a little feedback on how this is actually impacting communities, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, JB. Yeah, so I think earlier in the morning we kind of talked about a community defined by a united purpose. But there's communities that we live in, so it's kind of defined by the region. But I think they're defined by region, but it's really the shared values and the belief system that makes the community it. And I think there's people, as we see in the great exodus from big cities and the coastline in to rural America and the communities, because they see something that they like. They see something where they can share in the belief system that we want. So that culture that Bob talked about, the way of life, the change of pace, the heritage associated with that, I think they're in search of that. And so, but there's local communities, and we had John up here earlier talking about the local investment that is made in the community and how critical that is. And many of your businesses are the foundation for a lot of what happens in those communities. And so Warren and I it was about a couple of years ago, and we were looking and we said, how many trucks are involved in the Prime Pursuit system? And we calculated it all up, and this is just to live cattle, so it doesn't include Creekstone's trucks and Walmart trucks and all that. 35,000 trucks. And that was a couple of years ago, so it's probably a lot larger. That started spurring a different conversation. We're like, this is a big program. Like, it is very expansive, it's large, it's making big impacts, but how do we quantify that, right? So we can say it's expansive, we're doing great things, but how are we ultimately helping others live better? And I think that's what we wanted to capture in numbers. I'm a CPA, so I like a spreadsheet and a table better than anybody, but I won't bore you with all that. But we did reach out, had a great conversation with the Texas A&M Economic Group. Dr. Fisher and Dr. Rebecca Dudison, they're renowned experts when it comes to economic impact. A lot of what you see through Congress and committees, and if you see a number by the USDA, it's likely done by these two folks. And we reached out to them, and Bob and I had several conversations, and basically we just kind of mapped it out for them. We said, how much of an impact does this program make? And it really, we knew it was expansive, but really the Cliff Notes version is $1.5 billion impact on the economy. So all of you all in here, and all those that aren't in here that aren't represented today, we're making great, amazing impacts in those local communities. So that $1.5 billion is going into the communities. So just it's so much more than just the checks we write. It's the kids' baseball team. It's the sponsorship on the Little League team, right? It's sponsoring church events. All that adds up, and they quantified that into $1.5 billion. And so that's a big number. It's an impactful number. And we're adding almost 10,000 jobs to the economy. So that's outside of what you all do. That is simply taking the waterfall effect of the money that you all make into the communities and the jobs that's created there for. So pretty impressive, great impact. It's an expansive project, but I think the most important thing is through that and the investments that's being made by each and every one of you, the work is paying off because it's certainly helping others live better.
Love it. Thank you, BJ. We have Shane Store's picture up, one of the Store brothers. I'd love to tell this. Is Shane in the room? Do we have one of the Stores? Jared, where's Jared? Hi there. I called your brother and asked if I could tell this story. I got the approval, right? Thank you. When my time on earth is coming to a close, and I hope that's a long, long ways away, there are a few afternoons that I'll hang on to, and this is one of them. I'm from a large family, and there are portraits on the wall, but we don't see each other. It's not that we don't get along, it's just people have moved on with their lives and live all over the country and world and do other things. And sort of miss that feeling, what that's like. I arrived on this ranch and to tell this story, and what I met were three brothers and a father. The wind was blowing really hard, and I spent the day with them to shoot a sustainability video, but it was so much more impactful to me than that. I got to know them. I got to ride the dirt roads they've ridden as kids. Got to ride past the trees they climbed as kids. I got to see the one-room schoolhouse they went to as kids. I got to see the house where they grew up, got married. We did go to the house. We saw pictures on the walls. We saw their kids, their grandkids. But what I saw were three brothers and a dad and a love of the land, almost unlike anything I've ever seen. And I wanted to capture that. I wanted to bottle that up. I wanted to share that with everybody. If you could love your family, if you could love where you live, if you could love what you do, 1/10 of this family, gosh, what a better place would be. And to understand that, it was powerful. And you shake hands with them, their hands are callous, they look in your eye, they're sweet, they're kind, they're hardworking. And they to do what I have to do, I have to get people to tell stories, and they told stories. And they didn't mind sharing that times had gotten kind of tough, and the land was not being used. They didn't have the cattle, they had the equipment, they had the love, they had the passion, but they just didn't have cattle to do this. And wow, this land that shared just generations of memories. They had to consider maybe selling some off, and they were going to go down to a bank. And one of them was like, wait a minute, can we try that program, Prime Pursuits? Can we try that? And they did it, and it worked. And the cattle came to the field, and the machines got kicked back up, and the brotherhood was reignited. And to hear that story and to think what we've done, what Bob's done, what you've all done as a team, anything that I've done to help people like that help us, that's a pretty powerful moment. I just want to thank you for sharing that story. When we talk about helping others live better, I've done a lot of things in my career that I think could just be forgotten. But what you are all doing to help people like that, and you help each other, wow, from Walmart to each of you to the consumer, it's pretty powerful. I'd like to give you all a hand for letting me share that story. Dear sir, so we met, this gentleman introduced himself a moment ago, but he and my colleague Sydney had gone to undergrad or grad school?
Grad school.
Grad school together, right? And so, yep, and is that working?
Who knows?
Yep. Test it. Did someone from Cal Poly make it?
There we go.
There we go. We went out to shoot a video and with him, and it was pretty powerful. And so we thought, wow, we've got the Soars, we've got all of you, we've got Jonathan's going to tell a story in a minute, and here we've got kind of a different angle, an academic angle. Would love you. How is this program helping people live better lives?
Yeah, I think for me, like I stated before, I come at it from a little different angle, and I grew up in the industry, but for me, I was always curious, and this is probably what most parents hate. Well, why are we doing that? Why? Right? But that's always what's driven me is, why are we doing this? How can we do it better? How can we work together to make improvements? And, as you mentioned, poor Sydney and I, she had to deal with me for many years during graduate school. And then I returned back to California, and fortunately I've been able to kind of come back to my roots. And Cal Poly is a really special place. Our motto is learn by doing, which, you know, everybody talks about the experiential learning, hands-on learning, but quite frankly, Cal Poly really lives it. And it took a lot for me to come back to California, to be quite frank. I never thought I would be back ever. But I'm glad I'm back, and truly the student population, most of our students have no background at all. And really what kind of got us started in Prime Pursuits, my coworker Aaron Lazanoff, he and I were trying to figure out what to do to kind of move forward, and we were selling calves on the Western video market, and Holly Foster, Colonel Rick Machado, I know is in the room, helped us, and the first load of calves when I got to Cal Poly, we sold to Prime Pursuits, and we didn't really know at the time what that entailed or what that meant. And then we've just been able to kind of foster that relationship, of course, with Sydney and I, and then it's just evolved from there. We're now using 44 Farms genetics with the original AI. All of our students, we have our students as part of a class, they AI over 200 cows by themselves. You know, Aaron is the only employee, and we employ students, and that's unique. They live and work on the ranch day in and day out, and so it's a pretty special opportunity for them to learn.
Yeah, it was a beautiful place to be. We were 7 miles from the Pacific Ocean. We were in the middle of a shoot, and someone said, "Hey, there's a bear on set, but don't worry about it." So I tried not to worry about it. It was an amazing day. I'd love to show you a video. Could we? Could we show their video?
Today, Dr. McFarland and the Cal Poly University students eagerly begin their day inside, studying the best practices to raise the highest quality beef. But what makes this place truly innovative is that the classroom continues outside on nearly 7,000 acres of land.
We're at Cal Poly's Escuela Ranch, a learning laboratory about 2 miles from campus in San Luis Obispo. And then we've got the Pacific Ocean about 7 miles behind us with the cattle grazing in the background. So it's a pretty incredible opportunity for our students to put theory into practice.
The students come out here after they've been in Zach's class and they apply exactly what they learned. They came out this morning early, moved some cattle around, checked fences, checked water, checked health on the cattle, and practiced low-stress handling.
Aaron and his students use the cattle's natural behaviors in response to people to gently move them throughout the rangeland to fresh grass. Students stay quiet to keep the herd calm and create familiarity through repetition by moving through an intricate network of pastures.
Part of the goal for our operation is our students move them so frequently that the cattle know behaviorally that they're moving on to the next pasture, so they're calm, they're quiet. Pretty spectacular to see the low-stress cattle handling techniques that our students learn and apply outside of the classroom.
Each day, the students practice the 3 pillars of sustainability: environment, social responsibility, and economics.
So it's pretty special to have a group of students like this. This is the future of the beef industry standing here with me. And so having students like Roby, who've got a 7th generation rancher with a wealth of knowledge prior to coming to Cal Poly, a student like Maya with little to no experience coming in, and Jason, who's gonna be moving on into graduate school in beef cattle production. And they all come out of their experience here at Cal Poly with the knowledge and skills to be future leaders in the beef industry.
My name is Maya Bolfregata. I'm a 4th-year animal science major here at Cal Poly. I am from San Diego, California, and before coming to Cal Poly, I actually had no experience with livestock animals at all. So I'm really grateful for the experiences that both Zach and Aaron gave me here at the Beef Unit.
My name is Jason Dabowski. I'm a 4th-year animal science student here at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I chose Cal Poly because I knew that there was that learn by doing approach to production agriculture, and I wanted to experience that firsthand.
For over 70 years, Cal Poly students have graduated to become some of the top veterinarians, farmers, ranchers, and environmental specialists in the U.S.
The calves that we produce as a part of the Escuela Ranch enterprise become a part of this beef supply chain that provides Walmart consumers with a high-quality beef product under the McLaren Farms label.
Over 1,000 ranchers like the Escuela Ranch enterprise are dedicated to delivering fine McLaren Farms Angus beef to Walmart. Now available in over 500 stores throughout the Southeast at an everyday low price. Find your nearest Walmart with McLaren Farms beef.
So Zach, I'm not coming down on anyone that has a English literature degree, but as opposed to what these folks are doing, I was just helping people live a better life, what you're teaching, what you're doing.
Yeah, I think the students that were showcased in the video, I think, give you an idea of what our student population looks like. I mean, we do have, of course, some production agriculture students, Roby Knock, a seventh generation rancher, and then students like Maya and Jason who have no background at all. And so it's that unique opportunity to take this model, we call it the enterprise, and what the goal of the enterprise is to get students out of the classroom and applying the knowledge that they learn on the ranch. And quite frankly, I can talk about theory and lecture at you all day, but what does that really provide you in terms of experience and learning how to be a contributor, a positive contributor in society? And so having that partnership with Aaron, who's out there every day, he can teach them to weld, he can teach them things that I could never possibly teach them in terms of the grand scheme of sustainability and stewardship of both the land as well as the cattle. And that for me is why I go to work in the morning, right? And being able to have the opportunity to showcase how cattle can be a positive influence on the environment, particularly in a state like California, as you can imagine, is a great way for us to showcase this industry. And what I've learned through this experience, I'm a data person, I'm a scientist, I'm a researcher, and I like data. But most of society really thrives on storytelling. And they want to learn from all of you in this room. And so I think that is something I've really gained from this experience and we talk about it all the time, right? Like, don't be afraid to share your story, but it starts small. You don't have to have 1,000 followers on social media. I hate that crap, right? But that's the value of the next generation, their ability to translate what all of you do. They live and breathe it. I mean, Aaron and I talk about it all the time. Some of our best students come from a city, right? And they just thrive in that environment, the cowboy culture, the ranching culture, they just love it and live and breathe it every day. And then they go out and contribute and think outside of the box. And so that's why I tell you, I'm pretty confident that this next generation is gonna really drive us forward and continue this lifestyle that we all love. Because it's not just the ranching community, you're having allies coming into a university that are gonna help us drive forward.
And live a better life.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. As I stated earlier, I did not grow up in the ranching business, and when I was assigned to go to Jonathan Jones' ranch to meet him, he called me and said, "Now, JB," in his amazing accent, "it's been raining. Make sure you bring boots. Make sure you bring rain boots." And so I'd never really owned boots, and Bob had actually sent me a pair of rain boots, and I had them, and I was so proud of them, and gosh, can't wait I'm going to take these to New Orleans. So I put them by the truck and took off 5 in the morning and headed that way. Yeah, I didn't take my boots. And I was wearing flip-flops. So when I got to the ranch, it had been raining and it was wet. I was in flip-flops. And when I got there, I said, "My mistake, I'm going to do it." So the first day I spent with Jonathan, I was in flip-flops on a ranch after a heavy rain. I'll just leave that visual up to you. But I've not forgotten it. But before we hear Jonathan's story, I know we introduced him, but I believe we have a pretty darn good introduction of Jonathan. One, Doug McMillan, had seen the video that you're going to see. Not this one. Would love to see, Doug McMillan and President Walmart had seen the video and wanted to invite Jonathan to something special. Do we have that video by chance?
Give you an example of a family that's helping us provide better quality and doing it in a more sustainable way at the same time. I met Jonathan and Sierra Jones and their sons, Jonathan Jr. and Jace, a few months ago. They're ranchers in New Orleans. Check out their story.
I'm Jonathan Jones. I'm a third-generation rancher. We're here in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I operate with my wife, Sierra Jones, my two sons, Jonathan and Jace Jones. We're an urban ranch. We're located right across the river from New Orleans, and we have multiple pastures that we operate on, and, you know, we put it all together to make it work. We maintain the quality of the cattle by keeping up with our data that we receive back from these reports for being in the program. We don't use any hormones in our cattle. We hold them to a certain standard, and that's exactly what Walmart wants, and that's what makes this a great partnership. Everything that we focus on is quality-driven, because we know that it's gonna end up at someone's dinner table, you know, enjoying a quality meal with loved ones. And that's what we're most proud of.
So we want them to thrive. We want all of our ranchers to thrive. And we want consistently great steaks for our customers. The Jones family's with us today. Can we please recognize them this morning?
We got to give it up for Jonathan, right? Yeah, so Jonathan welcomed us down to his ranch, flip-flops and all, and met him. We told the story that you're going to see shortly, but his story is amazing. Tenacity, resilience beyond belief, and wow, asking, how was this program helping people live better lives? Jonathan, tell us your story.
Well, I want to thank you all for the opportunities that you all have given us. And like you just said, you know, it starts small, but, you know, you're able to make a big impact. And like I said, the 44 Farms and Prime Pursuits team has just welcomed us, even, you know, being a small operation, you know, they treated us no different from any other operation. So I'm just thankful for that. Like I said, I'm a third-generation rancher, and we've been through a lot with Hurricane Katrina, you know, doing a devastating our ranch and all, and being able to continue to grow and kind of rebuild, especially having to move the cattle up to New Orleans on the West Bank, where I was raised on the West Bank, but the cattle wasn't there originally. So getting pasture land in a urban area like New Orleans, that's was a task at its own, but with doing so and being in the program, it's helped us live better by the data that we get back, being able to get better with the carcass data and everything that the program provides. It just helps the operation be better, you know, full circle. And that helps us live better, be more profitable. That helps us provide a more consistent steak for our Walmart customers to consume. And like I said, once again, it's full circle and just helps the whole sector or the whole industry do better and live better.
Jonathan has my cell phone, and I cannot say that he's maybe not called me at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night and made my heart feel warm. Right? No, I love the fact that he feels a sense of community and reaches out and feels connected. But Jonathan, you've talked to me as we were interviewing that, wow, helping with the marketing and the data and all of that, just everything that's you've mentioned a number of times the team and being able to reach out to people, and that's been really helpful for you all, correct?
Yes, that's been kind of one of the most helpful things. Like I said, we run a different type of operation. Though we kind of branched off from the bigger herd that we ran with my father and older cousins, and by us kind of just starting out when the program was just getting started. Also, we've been able to kind of be tailor-made to the program and can tweak things as they grow, as we grow. And, Doug Slattery, he was instrumental in that when I first started calling him. Like I said, just to haul 20 to 15 head up to Marlin, he accepted that and, helped us grow with that marketing phase of things. And with meeting Doug McMillan and personally talking to him, and his assurance of the longevity of this program, that assured us that we can do those major investments and continue to grow and do better in the program and in our community, providing that beef. And with Dave Baskin, we spoke about how it stops right at our border. It's right at Biloxi, Mississippi, and the meat product hasn't jumped into Louisiana yet. But from the people I spoke with or tell the story to, they're real excited about the product and they're really waiting for it to get into Louisiana stores. And like I said, that's going to make a big difference in the community.
Wow. Zach, you were talking earlier that you teach, and you told me that when out there, and others are out there, like Aaron's out there doing. What's that story mean to you, seeing someone out there and what this program is doing for him?
Yeah, I think I love the sense of community that this program has instilled. And I think that's what has been a pretty instrumental teaching tool for me, is being able to showcase, because transparency really matters to this next generation. I think, of course, it matters to most of us, but particularly to this next generation. And so being able to see the entire supply chain, even though our students really raise them from, of course, birth to weaning time, they're able to follow them. And so it gives them that sense of purpose. It gives them that sense of ownership. And that data sharing and storytelling is really important to that next generation. And quite frankly, we can't forget, I know, even as a millennial myself, everybody hates on millennials, rightfully so. But, quite frankly, this next generation, Gen Z, and whatever the heck is after that, we have to be willing to engage with them, as frustrating as it might be sometimes. But they're future consumers. They are future voters. Some of them are voting right now, right? And being able to, your story you're sharing really resonates with a lot of students. And so I played your video actually a couple times in class. And so a lot of students really love the fact that you face adversity and you rise and rise again. And so it's been a great teaching tool to show that this industry is not always playing cowboy, and it's not always glamorous. And you have to be able to work hard and face that adversity head on. And so it's something that cannot be taught in a classroom. They have to experience it and live it. And so thank you for sharing your story, and thanks for being willing to take this a different angle, but it really resonates with this.
Powerful angle. I do, you want to?
Yeah, just to emphasize on the transparency part of it, being, like I said, that close to the city and, kind of being more in tune with the city folks, you could say, it's really something that's kind of in the forefront, the transparency, kind of knowing where the food comes from, how it was raised, and all of that stuff. So that is a big part of it, and the storytelling that you all have been able to do, that is a major game changer in the industry.
Well, thank you. PJ, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I think, Jonathan, it's nice to see the progress. I think we even have a picture of Jonathan Jr. in front of the cell ring there at 44 and from 2017. So maybe just elaborate a little bit on the 44 Farms and how that's helped, the data and obviously the genetics, but kind of speak to the relationship of 44 Farms and what the incredible team there does to help you be better. And you certainly have helped us. You've given us a lot of insights and made us better, but can you maybe speak to the 44 Farms genetics piece?
Well, the 44 Farms genetics, like I said, once again, with the data that we get back, that has, enabled us to grow really substantially with the carcass data, the the genetics to push those higher quality courses out. And, you know, with the kids coming up, like I said, the first picture was he was 3 years old, so they've been growing with the program also. And, you know, they realize the partnership that we have and how they help us, like I said, from marketing to just getting the bulls there. Any problems we have, it's like a phone call away. And like I said, everything that's been going on with us over the past couple of months with the multiple visits, multiple trips, and other opportunities that you all have given us, it's just really helped us out and really putting us on a fast track to success.
Well, the data speaks for itself. I mean, how you've improved and your percentage of prime, I mean, it's just skyrocketing as a result of you getting that information and then acting on it. I think that's what's important is once we get it, how do we act on it? And, you know, we have a team of dedicated folks that can help you do that. And so thank you for utilizing that, but thank you for part of the program and the success story that you've had is very inspiring.
Thank you.
I think as we get ready to take our seats, I would love to show Jonathan's video. We can take our seats and you can watch it and get a full grasp of this. And then I'm going to turn it over to Bob. So Jonathan, Zach, thank you.